It's 10:12 in the morning. 6 people are sitting around the table reviewing a proposed process change. One person is speaking, 2 are nodding, and the other 2 are checking the clock. The employee who really understands the process better than anyone else has not said a word. The leader explains the final part of the plan and asks, "Is everyone comfortable before moving forward?" No one objects, and the meeting ends early. At 3:40 that afternoon, the new process fails. Production stops, material must be inspected again, and the quiet employee says privately to a coworker, "I knew that was going to happen." The leader believed the team was aligned, but the room was signaling something completely different. No warning light appeared, no alarm sounded. The leader did not miss a technical reading, they missed a human one. Before this video ends, I will give you one question that can surface a concern your team has not said out loud. Self-awareness helps you recognize what is happening inside of you. Self-management helps you choose your response when the pressure rises. Social awareness then moves your attention outward. It is the ability to notice the moods, needs, emotions, and behavioral signals of other people and then use that information to work with them more effectively. It's not mind reading, it's an observation, curiosity, and empathy. At Soaring Leadership, we use this operating rule: observe before interpreting, ask before assuming, and support without removing accountability. The goal is not to diagnose people. The goal is to understand enough to protect dignity, standards, safety, and your results. Good leaders often misread their teams because the brain wants to turn the behavior into immediate explanation. Someone becomes quiet, and the leader thinks they don't care. An employee asks several questions, and the leader thinks they're just resisting the change. An operator reacts emotionally, and the leader thinks, well, they're just overreacting. We call this the signal trap. The signal trap happens when you notice a behavior and immediately decide what it means. The behavior may be real, but your explanation may be completely wrong. Silence could mean disengagement. It could also mean disagreement, uncertainty, embarrassment, or a need for more time to think. Questions could mean resistance, but they could also reveal unclear expectations, missing information, or an operational risk. The signal is an invitation to become curious. It's not a permission to reach for a conclusion. Now, you may be thinking, I do not have the time to analyze every expression and body movement. And you're right. Social awareness cannot slow down every decision, but speed can create false certainty. Leaders also interpret people through their own working style. A fast leader may see a careful employee as slow. A detailed leader may see a quick employee as careless. A reserved leader may view the expression an employee has as overly emotional. Your preferred way of working can quietly become a standard that you use to judge everyone else. But your preference is not the only professional way to work. The question is not, why are they acting like this? The better question is, what might I be missing? To move from assumption to understanding, use the notice method. Notice the shift, observe without assuming, test your interpretation, invite their perspective, connect with empathy, and engage the right support. Let's apply it to the situation where many workplaces are facing. Imagine an experienced employee named Maria. Maria regularly volunteers for improvement projects. She trains new employees and brings in practical ideas. Then the company announces that part of the production process will be automated. During the announcement, Maria asks 2 questions. After the meeting, she becomes quieter. Over the next 2 days, she stops volunteering for improvement work. The first conclusion may be Maria is just resistant to technology, but social awareness begins with comparison, not judgment. Instead, ask, what changed? Maria usually contributes, and now she contributes less. Maria usually volunteers, and now she's stepping back. That is a shift. Next, observe without assuming. An assumption sounds like Maria is resisting change. An observation sounds like Maria asked 2 questions during the automation announcement and has contributed less since that meeting. One is a label, the other is information you can discuss. Think about describing, not declaring. Before speaking with Maria, test your interpretation. Ask yourself, what else could explain this? What information might I be missing? Or how can this situation look different from her position? Maybe Maria is worried that her experience will no longer be valued. Maybe that announcement did not explain how her role will change. Maybe she supports automation but sees the quality risk in the implementation plan. Or she could be genuinely disagreeing. The goal is not to create the most positive story, it's to become more accurate. Then invite her perspective. I notice you have been quieter since the automation discussion. What concerns or questions do you still have? And then pause. Don't answer the question yourself. Don't try to rescue the silence. Some people need time to think before they speak. Maria may finally say, I'm not against the technology. I'm worried about the new inspection step that will miss defects experienced operators catch. Now, that is useful information. The original conclusion was resistance, but the actual concern may be incomplete quality control. Maria may not be right, but the leader is now evaluating information instead of reacting to a label. But here is where social awareness may become uncomfortable. Maria may say, I've spent 15 years learning this process. The announcement made it sound like none of that experience matters. Your first reaction may be, that's not what we said. But empathy begins with recognizing the experience before defending your decision. You could say, I understand why the announcement left you wondering whether your experience is still valued. Empathy is not necessarily agreement. You can understand Maria's concern and still move forward with the automation. Then engage the right support. Ask what support would help you take the next responsible step. Does Maria need clarity about her future role? Should the implementation team use her operational expertise? Does the process require another quality review? Or does Maria need to participate professionally even though she disagrees? Support should increase capability. It should not remove ownership. Sometimes the behavior frustrating you is not poor performance. It's a working style difference from yours. Imagine a plant manager asking an engineer to improve equipment modification. The engineer says, I need to review the failure data and confirm the guarding requirements. The manager hears delay. The engineer sees risk. Both begin believing the other person is the problem. A socially aware leader does not remove the deadline, the leader changes the route. I need a go or no go recommendation by 2 p.m. Review the failure history, the guarding risk, and the 2 conditions that could stop approval, and tell me what you need to complete that. The deadline remains and the standard also remains, but the communication is easier to understand and act on. Fair leadership does not always mean identical communication. Now return to that meeting at 10:12. Everyone nodded and no one objected, but fast agreement can mean alignment, but it can also mean confusion, fatigue, or reluctance to challenge the leader. Reading the room does not mean guessing everyone's emotions. It means checking whether the conditions support honest information. Before closing an important discussion, pause. Look beyond the most vocal person. Notice who contributed, but also notice who stopped contributing. And then ask that question that I promised you at the beginning. And here it is. What concern have we not said out loud yet? And then remain silent. Do not rescue the room from the discomfort. The silence may be the space someone needs to speak up. The experienced employee may finally say, the plan works during normal production, but it does not account for the material variation we see at startup. That concern was already in the room. The meeting process simply had not made it easy to say. Social awareness becomes especially important when someone is upset. Suppose an employee comes to you and says, that department has no respect for us, and I'm done helping them. Do not immediately agree with them, but also do not dismiss their emotion. Instead, say, it sounds like that interaction left you feeling disrespected. Help me understand what's happening. And after listening, clarify the boundary. I understand why you're frustrated. We still need to work with that department, and refusing to support them is not acceptable. Let us identify the conversation that needs to happen. You see, empathy and accountability are not opposites. Empathy often makes accountability easier to hear. During your next meeting or shift, Watch for the signals. Who becomes quiet? When does the energy change? Who becomes defensive? And who is interrupted? When does agreement happen unusually quickly? When you notice the signal, you do not jump to conclusions. Instead, use the notice method. Notice the shift, observe without assuming, test your interpretation, invite their perspective, connect with empathy, engage the right support. Go ahead and download the free Social Awareness Quick Reference using the link below and tell us in the comments, which signal are you most likely to miss? Is it silence, defensiveness, changing energy, quick agreement, or a change in work quality? Remember, the signal is not a conclusion, it's the beginning of a better question. Notice more, assume less, and make it easier for your team to tell you what you need to hear.